Well, this was the scene about 20 minutes ago here at Marfogan Weather HQ. Snowing again. It snowed last night, and we've got a little nice dusting across the landscape here in Everton, Rossshire. Certainly, many places now enjoying a little bit of snow again across the north, and indeed some parts of the south as well. This is the latest radar here. There is and has been some interesting things going on in the last 12 hours or so. In fact, we've got this area of low pressure that is spinning over France at the moment here, bringing all sorts of messy conditions to parts of France, the Low Countries, into Germany. We've got a band of snow here moving through central areas down into Switzerland as well. We're going to see some very significant amounts of snow actually back into the Alps once again. So all the hullabaloo fussing about lack of snow in parts of the Alps, I think we're going to start to see things turning around once again here. Not all will see the big snow, but certainly places that have been missing out in recent times should see the return of snow once again. Like I say, there's interesting things that have happened over the last 12 to 24 hours anyway. Area of low pressure that deepened through the channel during the overnight period. Let's play through the loop of the Meteoseel site here. This is, of course, the UK pressure chart here. And you can see here that deep area of low pressure skirting the Cornwall coast here, running through the channel, deepening as it did so, and then moved into France. But the significant aspect about this is the winds that were generated here. We had a wind gust, if we look back here at the wind speeds here, this is in kilometers per hour. A very, very difficult to see, so I'm actually going to try and zoom in a wee bit here so it's a little bit easier for you to see this. But some very impressive wind gusts, not so much on the English side of the channel, but actually on this peninsula here on the north coast of France. This site in particular, that is of course very exposed to the west wind. We've seen wind speeds in excess of 163 kilometers per hour here. So I'm trying to figure. I'm trying to kind of show you it here because it's difficult when you zoom in. You can't really get it here. So, but look at this here. That must have been a very, very wild night on this little peninsula here, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it, which is a bit unfortunate. But some tremendous wind gusts actually generated by this area of low pressure as it passed just to the north. The center of it just passed, literally just to the north side of this peninsula here, as it kind of spread its way in to the northeast corner of France, and it has generated some tremendous wind speeds here. Let's have a quick look at the chart here of Weather Underground, because if it's going to let me, that is, because I was wanting to show you the snow chart. Unfortunately, it's not going to allow me to do that. So we'll have to scrap that idea, unfortunately. I do apologise. But let's have a look quickly at the current temperatures across the British Isles here. So we are still talking about sub-freezing temperatures as of midday, and it is a cool one out there. Even chilly down across the far south, but we do have sixes and sevens showing up across the south coast here. Don't know if you did see anything in the way of wintry precipitation during the overnight period with that area of low pressure. I just don't think there was enough cold air really associated with it to allow anything significant. But you can certainly see some significant wind chills at the moment here. -7 at Loch Lisgarnock, -9 at Charterhall in the Borders. We've got a -7 here at Bulmer, and we've got pretty much sub-freezing wind chills all the way down to the Isle of Wight, as you can see here. Looking at the current charts, this is off weathercharts.com, and this is the ECMWF view for today. So we continue to see these snow showers piling in across the far north. We've also got some snow showing up across parts of the Lothians, the Borders, and also, of course, we've got this area of low pressure that really didn't produce a great deal. I think there was a few high ground areas of the south of England that seen some snow, wintry precipitation over parts of Kent, for example. I believe, anyway, based on reports, over the course of last night and then into the early portion of this morning here. But that area of low pressure is going to bring some pretty wild conditions across parts of the near continent here through the course of today. I think we've got more snow showers continue to pile in across the north, of course. We've got this area of low pressure to the west that's riding the flow. And I'll tell you one thing here, the north of Spain is going to get battered over the next few days here with that stinging northwesterly flow. We've got some pretty heavy precipitation riding that flow as well. And you can see here the squeeze in the isobars indicate that we're going to have some very strong winds driving probably some very big swells along the north coast of France, down the coast of Portugal as well. Rain, sleet, snow, severe gale force winds, really nasty conditions actually across Spain and southern parts of France. This is a big turnaround because remember how warm it's been across the south of France, north of Spain in recent times since starting the new year. Really, we've seen some very, very warm conditions. So this is going to be a big difference here, but a very, very messy picture indeed here. It really is impressive how tightly squeezed the isobars are. We're seeing these convective showers develop and cold flow riding over relatively warm waters, and that is generating some very significant showers, probably some embedded thunderstorms within this flow as well. But a really nasty conditions here, and you could start to see a fairly decent snow cover across parts of southern France with this situation, because the trough is deepening significantly. If you look at the 500 millibar chart, this is over the hemisphere here, so this is looking right down over the pole here. We've got this strong block across the top. We've got a strong ridge on the east coast of Canada, extending up into Greenland, and of course there's the trough centered over the British Isles. We've got one low to the north of Scotland, we've got the other low moving into the near continent, as you can see here. But as I play through this loop, notice how deep the trough is, and that is why that the cold air is going to drill all the way down into Spain with this situation here. So we're going to start to see a moderation, because what happens is this area of high pressure over the Atlantic is going to eventually topple its way in, and it looks as if we're going to warm things up quite significantly by the weekend coming up, and then into next week we should see less in the way of rainfall. I want to say something that back in November, do you remember how much rain fell in the south of England? This is something that's going to be a bit of a test to my winter forecast through the second half of this period here. Really, from the second half of January, I think cold is going to be fleeting, like we're seeing at the moment. A cold week now. We're going to warm things back up once again at the weekend, so it's not a locked in, prolonged spell of cold weather like we've seen back, of course, in the first 2 weeks of December. Sorry, this January warm spell has been expected. And it's interesting if you look actually at a tweet here by Shryan Bruin in particular. I want to look at this because I think we have a very similar pattern here to, and this is some nice pictures here, by the way. This is from Whitby photographer. Snowing pretty heavy here at the Lion Inn here. I don't know whereabouts. Is this Yorkshire? Yeah, it is. It's Yorkshire. I apologise for not knowing that. Nice scenes here. Look at the view here over Glencoe this morning. Some stunning pictures here at the ski resort. They're certainly doing well this year in terms of snow. So spectacular views here. A tweet by Weather to Ski. And indeed, we also have a nice image here by GES of a decent snow cover across Carlisle this morning. So thanks for sending in your pictures here of the snow. So very impressive indeed. But anyway, back to the point. And by the way, I'm digressing again. Interesting here by James Peacock showing this radar view of that low last night. And look at the eye that actually developed and was seen on radar. And he goes on to say that this might be the most impressive eye feature that I've seen in a non-tropical and non-polar type low pressure system. So that's certainly quite interesting to see. But I want to show you in particular this. This is the period between the 1st and the 13th, I believe. The 1st and the 12th of January. And we've got this strong ridge of high pressure over mainland Europe. We've got a strong core of low pressure just off Scotland. And of course, that means that we have a west to southwesterly airflow. This, folks, is, I could be wrong here, and Shrine could correct me on this one, but this here is strikingly similar to what we've seen back in November. Remember, we had one of the wettest Novembers on record for South and Southeast England. What a turnaround it is versus the summer that, of course, that we just seen last year. But this is a very, very similar setup to what we've seen back in the month of November. And my point that I'm trying to make is, remember what followed that November. We had, of course, the locked in cold spell. I still think that February is going to be a very, very interesting month. And I'll hold up my hand if I'm wrong with that one. But certainly, I think we've got a lot of interesting things to come. So GFS, I'm kind of digressing. I'm kind of going back and forth here, and I do apologise for that. But look at this here. So as we play through the loop, we've got this area of high pressure over the Atlantic. It is progressing eastwards. It is going to push the trough out of the way, and eventually we're going to start to see things settling down towards the weekend, and then through next week it looks as if high pressure is going to remain the dominant player, as you can see here, right the way through. And then, if you notice here, we are still seeing these heights building across the North Atlantic and up towards the Arctic region here, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We will have a look at the stratosphere in the next video here, because I just don't want to each video repeat the same thing. I'm trying to avoid doing that, so I'll look at that hopefully in tomorrow's video. But let's have a quick look at the 850 temperatures and see what takes place here. So at this moment in time, we've got the cold air sweeping south. That area of low pressure to the north here kind of sinks southwards. It introduces something a little bit less cold during the day on Wednesday, as you can see here, and then it kind of pulls away towards the near continent, probably bringing some heavy snowfall here. We're in the cold northerly flow, if you notice, all the way through Thursday. Into Friday, we've got another feature that runs south, and then it's as we progress from Friday into Saturday, what happens is we start to see the area of high pressure building to the west of Iberia, area of low pressure to the northwest, and we see the squeezing the isobars representing strong winds, but from a southwesterly direction. So the temperatures are going to really come up over the next few days. And I think the next couple of nights, by the way, we'll still see temperatures pushing -10 in some parts where there's snow on the ground. I think -9 was achieved this morning at Dalwhinnie. Some unofficial recording stations -9, -10, according to Weather Highland as well. So, a lot of things going on at the moment here. So I certainly encourage you to keep it right here on my YouTube channel. Finish off with snow depth, and we can see here that we'll go back to the current period, and we'll have a look at not only the UK and Ireland, but also Europe. So, of course, we increase the chances of snow across parts of Germany, across parts of southeast Belgium. There's that south of France region there where we have the area of low pressure and lots of moisture piling in with that cold northwesterly flow. So during the course of Tuesday and into Wednesday, look at how much snow cover we start to see building up over France. The Alps are going to get pasted, by the way. Look at Spain with that cold northerly flow also, and the south of the UK as well, seeing a little bit of snow. We'll wait and see what happens with that one. But certainly we see through the course of this week some fairly significant build-up of snow. That is probably by far the greatest snow cover of the entire winter so far, even beating December, I think. I could be wrong with that. And then, of course, we start to see it retreat slightly here as we progress towards the end of the month here. But yeah, like I say, keep it right here on my YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the comments. I do read every single one of them without, I know I don't reply to many comments, but they are viewed and they are appreciated, each and every one, positive as well as negative. And I'll see you again hopefully tomorrow with more talking about the stratosphere. See you next time.